These times are difficult. There are so many things going on right now. We're under quarantine, we're locked up, we've got a lot going on. Many of us don't know quite how to cope with this. Many of us have had difficulties and bad things have happened to us. How do we stay motivated during this difficult time? Motivation is key. Motivation is needed during hard times. We have to believe that things will get better. In these hard economic times, we find ourselves struggling to cope with the changes that have happened around us. Are you unhappy? Are you feeling deflated? Are you feeling miserable, depressed? Are you feeling totally hopeless? Bad things will happen to good people. The question is, how do we deal with the bad things? It is very hard to keep a smile on your face when you've lost your job, when you have no food to eat, no bed to sleep on. It is very hard to be upbeat when you don't know how you are going to care for your family. Difficult times are bound to happen to all of us at some point in our lives. We have to find a way to overcome the difficult times. How do we overcome the hurdles and obstacles life throws at us? We have to stay motivated. We have to keep telling ourselves that everything is going to work out. We have to stay positive. We have to encourage ourselves and each other. We have to be motivated to carry on with our lives. Let me tell you a story about a young boy who suffered hardships, but he never gave up hope, although he may have felt hopeless many times. This young boy was the only son in the family, but he had half-sisters. His stepfather beat him and abused his mother. The stepdad was so bad, he falsely accused this boy's mother of fraud, and she was imprisoned. The boy was put into foster care with nobody to love him. When he was 8 years old, he and his half-sisters were again put into foster care because, unbeknownst to him, his mother was again imprisoned. She had been allegedly accused for trying to kill the stepdad, a false accusation. The boy got to know his maternal uncle while he was in foster care. But then the uncle died. The mother came to the funeral in chains. That's when the boy found out she had been in jail. Despite all the bad things that happened to the mother, she encouraged her son to believe in himself and sowed the seeds of self-reliance in him. The mother told him, "You can only depend on yourself. The cavalry ain't coming." The boy learned from his early life that he had to stay away from alcoholism, domestic abuse, child abuse, illiteracy. He didn't want to have to fear and being powerless in his life. The boy grew up and joined the Navy. He worked in a medical laboratory and was interested in pursuing medicine. He got married, but knew many years of medical school was not going to help him look after his wife, so he abandoned his dream of becoming a doctor. His marriage didn't work out, and he had an affair with someone who fell pregnant with his son. He moved in with his girlfriend to prepare for fatherhood. He eventually divorced his wife. The young man worked as a laboratory assistant, but couldn't earn enough to look after the girlfriend and the son. So he became a salesman. His son asked him about his grandfather, so he went to find his dad, whom he had never known. He then came back to San Francisco, determined to succeed at business. A big mind change for him was when he was calling on a customer and he saw a fancy sports car parked outside the building. He waited for the driver and saw an impeccably dressed businessman in a smart suit. He asked the man, "What do you do?" The man said he was a stockbroker. The man introduced him to the world of stockbroking. The young man was determined to succeed at this new career. He gave up the sales job as he was offered an internship. But when he arrived at the firm, the person that hired him had been fired the week before. Now he had no job. While this happened, his girlfriend tried to run away with his child. He was also arrested and jailed for 10 days for not paying parking tickets. When he came home, the place was empty. The girlfriend had taken the child and left. He only had the clothes on his back. No money, no job, nowhere to live. He managed to get into a training program, but no pay. This young man continued to work. After 4 months, he got his son back, but he didn't earn enough for rent. He continued to meet his targets, but only earned a few dollars. He and his son were homeless and often slept on the streets. He sometimes slept in his office after hours, at flop houses, motels, parks, airports, on public transport, and even in a locked bathroom at a train station. But no one at his work knew how bad the situation was. He was determined not to give up. He was going to succeed. He tried to place his child in daycare every day. He stood in soup kitchens. He slept wherever he and his son could find a place to sleep. He eventually found shelter at a woman's homeless shelter at the Methodist Church. Today, when asked about being homeless, he says, "I couldn't tell you that we were homeless. I just knew that we were always having to go. So if anything, I remember us just moving, always moving." He eventually started earning money and found a place to stay with his son. In 1987, Christopher Paul Gardner, born February 9, 1954, established the broker firm Gardner, Rich & Co. in Chicago. His new company was started in a small apartment with the startup capital of $10,000 and a single piece of furniture, a wooden desk that doubled as the family dinner table. After Gardner sold his small stake in Gardner Rich in a multi-million-dollar deal in 2006, he became CEO and founder of Christopher Gardner International Holdings, with offices in New York, Chicago, and San Francisco. He wrote a memoir. The book was made into a motion picture, The Pursuit of Happiness, starring Will Smith. Gardner is a fine example of how we can overcome hard times if we persevere. Stay motivated. Keep believing. Trust things will get better. Be inspired to carry on. You can do it.